Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're not just recounting history.
Right.
We're looking at cultural stamina. We're on a mission to understand how the symbolism of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian figure, has lasted so incredibly long.
Not the myths per se, but the endurance itself.
Exactly. Our sources today, they really focus on the impact, the influence. They're asking, how does this symbol get this strength to endure? How does it build an eternal presence? What let this jackal-headed figure pass the ultimate test of time? We're talking millennia here.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, is that the sources we're using, they deliberately step back from a simple timeline. They're not just listing dates.
Okay.
They're synthesizing the impact. They treat Anubis less like a specific deity with a checklist of stories and more like a case study.
A case study in resonance.
Exactly. How powerful ideas echo across totally different cultures, different times. We're digging into the mechanics of culture here.
I like that framing. Cultural mechanics.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's mechanics, the first big challenge is just survival. How do you last for thousands of years? Okay, let's unpack this. Let's talk endurance, how his influence actually persisted.
Well, it really starts with time and how things get passed down. Transmission, our sources talk about this lasting influence as echoes of time.
Echoes of time. Nice phrase.
It is, isn't it? It acknowledges that, time moves on, empires rise and fall.
Right.
But the image, the core idea, it somehow stays, audible culturally. It keeps resonating.
And the sheer scale of that is just mind-boggling. Think about it. Generations passing, each leaving their mark.
Yeah.
You've got the Old Kingdom, then the Middle, the New, the Ptolemies come in, the Romans.
Yeah.
And yet Anubis, the symbol, is still there, still available for the next culture, the next generation to pick up and engage with.
But it's not passive, right? The symbol doesn't just sit on a shelf waiting. It needs to be actively transmitted.
Right.
And that brings us straight to stories. Narrative continuity. What our sources call the stories shared. I mean, it's pretty simple if the stories die out.
The symbol dies with them. Makes sense. So, okay, why his stories? Egypt had loads of gods, fascinating cults, powerful figures. Many just vanished. Why did Anubis stick around? Was it just, better branding?
Well, maybe partly. But it was more strategic, I think. Anubis was tied into the single most unavoidable, institutionalized part of Egyptian life: death rituals.
Mortuary rites.
Exactly. Unlike, say, a local god whose importance might fade if their city declined, dealing with the dead, embalming, guiding the soul, his core functions.
Everyone needed that.
Everyone, every pharaoh, every official, presumably many ordinary people too, for something like 3,000 years, it was non-negotiable.
So the state religion, or maybe just the whole social and ritual machinery around death, it basically guaranteed his stories were constantly told, reenacted, written down. His endurance was built into the system.
That's it, precisely. His tales have passed down because they were woven into the fabric of burial requirements, religious law. That is resilience.
Yeah.
This constant required presence through ritual. That's what the sources point to as the core of his strength to endure. It's how he aced the test of time. He was always needed, always employed, you could say.
Okay, that connects the dots really well. We see how the stories were transmitted through this essential ritual framework and repetition. So now let's shift a bit, from the how of survival to the why. Why did this specific symbol, the jackal-headed man, remain so potent even when the stories were being told?
Yeah, the potency. It comes down to visibility and the universal nature of what he represented. The sources call him an enduring symbol. His image, they say, has been never forgotten.
You really can't separate the power from that visual, can you? That jackal head is instantly recognizable. Death, transformation, judgment, it's all packed in there.
Instantly. But, just being visible for millennia needs more than a good logo or powerful art. It needs people to care deeply, emotionally.
Right. Which brings us to belief. The human element underneath it all, the power of belief.
And the sources state it plainly. The faith continues. That's the engine. Belief keeps the stake relevant no matter who's in charge politically or what philosophical shifts happen. It's like a transaction, isn't it? If people stop needing what the symbol offers.
It fades. Doesn't matter how great the statues are.
Exactly. It fades.
This raises an important question then. What was Anubis offering that was so crucial, so timeless? I mean, he had competition, right? Osiris rose in prominence, the Greeks came with their pantheon, then Christianity. What kept people needing him?
He filled this incredibly deep, universal human need. Think about it. His main job wasn't just embalming, that's the practical task. Conceptually, he was the guide. the psychopomp.
The one who led you through the afterlife.
Yes, the one who weighed your heart against the feather of Mahakan. Truth, justice. He took the, frankly, terrifying uncertainty of what happens after death and offered structure, a process, a path.
That structure, that promise of a fair judgment and a guided passage, that must have been immensely comforting when facing the ultimate unknown.
Absolutely, immensely.
Yeah.
And our sources explicitly label him the symbol of hope. A beacon of hope, actually.
A beacon.
Yeah. Offering guidance, reassurance, and that frightening transition, death. That need for a steady hand, for guidance when you're facing the unknown, that's eternal. That doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So even when other gods rose or fell around him, the core need for a calm, fair guide to whatever comes next, that remained.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. We've talked about the individual connection, the emotional need. But this wasn't just a private comfort, was it? This enduring role, it started to shape society more broadly.
Definitely. He becomes a guide through the ages, as one source puts it. It suggests that his role in death writes that idea of order, of process, of judgment. It provided a kind of moral or even cosmic anchor for the whole civilization. Well, his presence in funerary practices underpinned ideas about legacy, property inheritance, how you remember ancestors, ethical behavior. You needed your heart to be light, right? That implies living a good life. He was actually fundamental to social cohesion, mediated through the lens of death and the afterlife.
We can actually see this influence, right? It's not just an old text.
Yeah.
His footprint is visible, culturally, artistically, way beyond Egypt's borders too.
Oh, absolutely. He is in the art. The sources call it the inspiration of art. And it wasn't just copying old statues, it was active reinterpretation, re-engineering almost.
Like with the Greeks.
Exactly. Think about the Hellenistic period, Greeks running Egypt. They didn't just toss Anubis aside. No, they syncretized him, merged him with their own messenger god, Hermes.
Anubis, right? That fusion is a perfect example of adapting to survive, isn't it? Instead of being replaced, he evolved.
Precisely. Hermanubis, you get the jackal head maybe, but also Hermes' traveler's staff, the caduceus. It kept Anubis instantly relevant, recognizable to the new Greek rulers, and later the Romans who followed them. When your image can successfully blend into the art, the religion, the cultures that conquer you, that's a powerful strategy for ensuring you stick around in people's minds. It's dynamic survival.
So stepping back, looking at the whole picture, this broad influence, we're really talking about something that impacted the world way beyond Egypt. This is the influence on culture.
That synthesis is key, I think. Anubis isn't just some historical footnote you read about. The sources describe him as an eternal presence. His influence is, quote, forever.
Forever. That's a strong claim.
It is. But if you connect that to the bigger picture, for you listening right now, the way we think about journeys to the afterlife, final judgments, guides like Charon crossing the Styx, maybe even our modern therapy concepts about navigating transitions, these deep cultural ideas are fundamentally shaped by ancient symbols like Anubis, symbols that successfully engineered their own survival. They laid down the conceptual tracks, you know.
That was a fantastic deep dive. So we've traced how Anubis became this enduring symbol, kept alive through stories shared, which were locked in by essential rituals, fueled by this deep power of belief, and ultimately offering that timeless hope, adapting and staying relevant.
Yeah, the key takeaway, I think, is how sophisticated cultural survival can be. It's not just about being popular in one moment, it's about embedding something truly fundamental, a need, a hope, into the collective memory. Often using institutions like those death rites so it achieves this almost eternal presence.
Okay, so final thought then. If we accept that Anubis's influence feels forever, partly because he was tied to essential cultural functions and adapted visually, what symbols or stories today, right now, are being designed? Maybe consciously, maybe not. Through our digital world, global media, maybe new kinds of institutions designed to endure, to become the next guide through the ages for future generations, for learners like you.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does. That's your thought experiment for the week.